All right, welcome to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman. I'm John Brazer, Director of Fun and Games, and joined by my man, Tommy Greene. He had the no-hitter back in 1991 for the Fighting Phillies, 93 stud, 16 wins, great golfer, and an overall good guy. What's up, Tommy?
Thanks for all the compliments, pal.
How about that, huh?
How about and it never gets old, Director of Fun and Games. It always brings a smile to my face, pal. You always
Well,
do.
well, I like the shirt you're wearing in honor of our buddy Bernie Perrant.
Yes,
Uh,
it's from my boy Bernie.
we've
Yeah,
had Bernie
what a
on the
great man he
baseball.
was.
Remember, we've had Bernie on the Baseball Insider Show a bunch of times. Uh,
Yes.
Down at the shore when we did it down at the shore.
Yeah.
We had him at that Pat Dion's cigar shop. Remember
Yep.
that? We
Yes,
did
we
it
did.
at the ballpark. We had him. I think we had him down, and we definitely had him at Keenan's.
Yes.
And then I'm wearing a Matt Cord T-shirt that he gave everyone or his wife for his last regular season game. Everyone got a Matt Cord T-shirt, so we wore it during the game, and then afterwards went on the court, got a big group picture. And then who would have known that we would beat the Celtics and advance one more, and Matt would have two series to work after that. So a lot of fun. So honor of our two buddies, Bernie, Sixers and Flyers.
Oh yeah.
Tommy, we got a great show today because this is one of those weeks that's gonna be really fun to talk about because we had
great week.
4 games against the Nats. 3 of those games we had some really late inning magic. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about a split of the Mets so far, and a lot of cool things, including one of the greatest catches you'll ever see. We have video of that, so we'll show you that if anybody missed Derek Hill's unbelievable catch. We're going to go around the league. We're going to get you caught up in some of the stories, including a player that took a lollipop into the field. Tommy, I don't know if that would work
Shocking.
very well. If that would go well on the '93 team.
No.
No, I don't think Dave Hollins. If Dave Hollins is out there when this player came out with a lollipop in his mouth, I think it would be that lollipop would be probably down in his intestines.
Oh yeah. No chance. No chance there, pal.
So we'll talk
about time they do something.
We'll talk about that, and we'll get you set up for today's game, the rubber match against the Mets. But before we get into the weekend baseball, Tommy, I got to say, I know you're not a big soccer guy. I think you like soccer. It's just not. I played soccer growing up, and I played in high school. And I think this World Cup has completely exceeded my expectations. Just with the star power, all the videos that you see from Scottish fans taking over cities and playing bagpipes, parading through Boston and New York and Miami. And then you see
great for the economy of those cities. I know that.
The economy, and I think it's great. It's great PR for America. You see the Norwegians, all their fans, they're getting down there and they're rowing on the subway. They're doing it in the stands. They're doing it in the middle of parks. It's pretty cool. And then my favorite part is all the videos you're seeing from Europeans that are coming over here that are discovering things like Waffle House, or they're discovering, Bass Pro Shops, or
oh man,
Walmart.
That's classic, man. That's the way I grew up. Yeah,
Buc-ee's. They love who doesn't love Buc-ee's, right? They're completely going nuts over the beef jerky wall. You can get every kind of beef jerky at Buc-ee's, and that a rodent could be so popular. Right, especially down south, the waffle and the little simple things that we take for granted, like free refills, right?
Yeah,
we're so used to free refills for the most part, and they're going completely nuts.
Huge thing. That's a huge thing to us, man. I like that.
So it's cool. And in Philadelphia, there's obviously we've had a bunch of games. We're gonna have a game on July 4th, and it could be France. I think France could be playing, maybe France and Brazil or somebody. It could be a big game on July 4th. So it should be fun. USA is playing, really well. And then Friday night, I had to go into the city. I was a Uber driver for a night. My wife and daughter went to see Noah Khan, who is a recording artist who sold out Citizens Bank Park,
Oh, okay.
and I went into the city to pick them up, and Croatia was playing the next day. So this is on Friday night, and it was really cool because I'm coming down the Parkway, and then came around City Hall down Broad Street. Croatian fans and a lot of Ghana fans were all over the city in their soccer jerseys and everything. It was pretty cool to see the city come alive with European
But
football fans, soccer
did you
fans.
get a five? Did you get a 5-star rating for your Uber driving?
Well, I think that's a good point, right? Because they've got to rate me. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
get Jill and Charlotte to go back on that little. Well, they didn't really use an app, so uh,
I'll
maybe I'm
have
gonna
to
have to.
ask her.
I'll
I'll have
find
to
other
ask her.
ways to. Yeah. So they owe me, but I actually saw some live music both Friday night to kill time before I went down, and then last night I went down to Wayne and caught a great band, Lazy Villains and the 29ers, two good, really good local bands.
I
So
got you, man. I tell you what, you're really up on the music scene too, Braz. You're very impressive when it comes to that stuff, man.
I absolutely love live music. Could be anybody. So throw a band in front of me, and I'm content. So, but Tommy, as I mentioned, great week in Phillies baseball, and if you go back to your team back in '93, think
Yeah,
about when or the '08 team when team. I'm not we're early obviously, but when
yeah,
teams have magical seasons, everybody contributes.
yeah,
From Eric, back in 2008, Eric Bruntlett. You get all these guys, Jeff Jenkins. You get everybody from that team, even Clay Condrey, some of the bullpen guys. But then you guys had, you had basically tandems at left field, right? You had Milton
yeah.
Inky, right?
We had three platoons:
Platoons. You
Milton
had
Inky.
Mickey
I
and
mean,
Mariano
Wes and Eisenreich
and
and
Izzy.
Duncan and Mickey Morandini.
And Sean Crowley just texted in and said, or sent a tweet, said, you were just as good hitter as a pitcher. You were
Well,
back in the day
uh,
when you could find, watch pitchers hit.
yeah.
You're up there with Steve Carlton. Trying to think some of the good, hitters we've had. Larry Christensen was a
Yeah.
very good hitter,
Well,
right?
hey, you've heard me say it before, Braze, all over the years. Anybody with a bat in your hand can hurt you. Now, you know what I really took pride in? I took pride in the little things, the bunting, getting when it come time for me to get a runner over, that could win a ball game. I don't never remember not getting a bunt down and moving a runner over. I can't never. I've gotten 2 strikes, but somehow I got it down. But it's the little things you take pride in, and every now and then Fergosi and them would cut me loose. If they start crashing too much to let me swing. Things happen sometimes. But
Well, your country's strong, Tommy. I've seen your golf game, and I know you can hit the golf ball a mile. So,
well,
and
those
also
days are
you're
going on the other side of the hill now.
well, you're good too. What I knew you would be a good fundamental baseball player because your golf, you're very fundamentally driven as far as the little
Yeah,
things, as far as loosening the grip,
yeah.
flattening out the head of the golf club. I know you're big detail, so it doesn't surprise me that you did that. So, but anyway, as I mentioned, good teams get contributions from the whole 26-man roster,
Yeah,
and this year I tell you what, again, we're in late June, but it's getting that making where we're coming back. But it's not just the superstars doing this. This is every night. It's somebody different, and you'll see when we go through the week
yeah.
that again, probably the guy that's had an unbelievable week is the guy that people don't even know, Derek Hill, right? So
Oh
he's
yeah,
had an unbelievable week. But we start off Monday. We played the Nats. We're going to have a 4-game series against the Nats, then 3 against the Mets. And we did not get off to a good start playing the Nats. We lost 4-1 to start the series. Curtis Mead, that name sounds familiar.
yes it
You know, he,
does.
he and Luis Garcia Jr. homered. Curtis Mead sounds familiar because that's who we traded to the Tampa Rays to get Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah,
So if Curtis Mead could have 20 more home runs in the next 20 days, and we'd still take Sanchez in that trade.
yes, yes
And
we
he's moved
would.
from Tampa now to the Nats. But he and Luis Garcia homered. Foster Griffin, pretty much relatively unknown pitcher, had a really good game, 7 1/3. Marsh continued his hot streak. He homered for the Phils. Mesa started the game, gave up a run in the first, but then Alan Rangel allowed a run and 5 hits over 5 innings. So not too bad of a job for
No,
that spot
very good
starter.
job. Very good
And then
job.
Seth Johnson came in, gave up 2 runs. And, a lot of our losses, this is kind of the stat where it seems like we get 5 hits when we lose. We don't have the offense output, and we just can't contribute. We were 5 hits, 0-3 runners in scoring positions. So this is one of the few down parts of the week. But then you go into Tuesday, was one of the wildest games you'll see. I had a swim meet. My daughter is last year of a swim meet, and I was following the game on my phone, and then on the way home from the swim meet, I'm listening to it. And I tell you what, it's the roller coaster of emotions where, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And, if you're a Nats fan that week, because this is a start of frustration, 3 straight games that Nats fans got to just be waiting for the Philly fans to just get out of the stadium because
they're hating us right now.
It was a very torturous week for Nats fans because
everything started happening late in that game too. It's starting off that you talking about. So I mean, it was a later happening as far as us getting into it.
Right. Well, we'll go through that. So the Phillies scored 8 runs in the 9th to rally past the Nats.
Yeah.
The Nats went up 1-0 in the second. They took a 5-0 lead in the 4th. Phillies scored
very
2 in
big
the
error
5th.
made. That was an error. Yep. That was a big. I mean, we got to tighten that stuff up, Braze.
That's right.
You got to have a long talk with those guys.
Well, on the bull session tomorrow, we're having Bobby Dickerson on.
Yeah, we need to have that and see what's going on.
I get
questions about that all the time, as far as the shortstop position. It being a little bit of, being a weakness as far as defensively is concerned. So I'm like, it's not that easy to play that position. So
now
you have to make a routine play.
And he did play well last year. You're hoping that he can kind of obviously he played good defense and he led the league in hitting. We need that Trey Turner.
He's trending offensively in a positive direction, which is great. So
yep. We scored 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th. We take a 6-5 lead in the 8th, right? So now you're thinking Phillies come back, the late comeback. Well, then the Nats go up 8-6 in the bottom of the 8th. And then Phillies get 2 quick outs in the 9th. And then this happens, ready? Trey Turner has a good at bat, singles. Marsh homers to tie it up. Harper singles. Hill singles. Stott hits a 3-run home run to give him the lead. Real Muto walks. Rinconi singles. Sosa doubles. Crawford walks. Turner singles. Then Marsh strikes out. 10 straight batters reach base. And again, if you're a Nats fan, you're pulling your hair out, right? Because they just came back. It was going to be a dramatic win. They were 1 out away, 1 strike away from closing it out. And then ends up being, we didn't have tons of hits, but that, again, 10 straight batters reach base. Phillies end up with 17 hits.
17 hits. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Stott went 3 for 4. Marsh went 3 for 6. Rincones, Sosa, Turner all had 2 hits. Sosa had a home run. We went 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position. And, Lizardo didn't have a terrible game. He gave up 5 runs, but one of them was earned. He went 6 2/3, 5 hits. He had 13 strikeouts. He had 3 walks.
He had 13 strikeouts. He had great stuff going that night. He's got in that one inning where it kind of got out of hand after the error a little bit. But I don't look at it like that. He gave up 1 run. The play should have been made. So that's the way I look at it.
So again, I think it was a somewhat encouraging outing. But how about this? Before we go to break, I'll give you this stat. Before the Phillies that night, on Tuesday night, no team had trailed with 2 outs in the 9th and then scored 8 runs to win in almost 40 years, right? The 1988 Royals were the last team to do it. And guess who was on that mound?
Danny Jackson.
Well, you're close. It was one of your former teammates in the 93 World Series team.
Well, that's what I said, Danny Jackson.
Okay, but it wasn't Danny. It was a reliever, someone that could blow up a little bit. sometimes.
Mitchy
Poo.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then Sean Crowley saying those comebacks are huge in DC in a big series. Nats trying to make ground in the division. Really want to get this win today. Hate the Mets more than anything. Focus and win series. Thank you, Sean. All right, Tommy. Winners win. Wapner Newman has been winning for families throughout the Philadelphia area and New Jersey since 1978. You need a winner. Call Wapner Newman at 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. All right, coming up in the show, we're going to talk more Phillies baseball, get through the rest of the Nats series, talk a little Mets. And then third segment, we're going to have Tim Kelly from On Patterson on to give us the inside glimpse into the locker room. And again, we'll get you set up for today's game. You're listening to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman.
You're sitting at a red light. Your phone buzzes. Direct deposit hit. You imagine what a little extra could do. Groceries covered. Weekend trip booked. Starting that someday fund. At Penn Community Bank, we know growth can look different, whether it's big plans or just a little breathing room. Right now, open a qualifying checking account with direct deposit and earn a $400 bonus. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/400bonus. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offer subject to change. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
When everything's on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
If you've been injured, call Wapner Newman.
Go with the heavy hitters.
Lawyers with the resources and experience to fight for you.
Win with Wapner.
The correct call.
Hey, WBCB listeners, it's Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Reliable water service doesn't happen by accident. It takes ongoing investments to help deliver clean water and manage wastewater every day. BCWSA Utility Services continues to upgrade and modernize its treatment facilities to strengthen infrastructure throughout Bucks County. These improvements help ensure safe, dependable service for families, businesses, and communities. Learn more about BCWSA's investments at bcwsa.net. BCWSA Utility Services.
Is that Brett Myers on the guitar, Tommy?
I mean, it could be. You never know. He's talented.
Well, he's got his own band.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get Brett. We're gonna have to get Brett Myers on the show and have him play a little guitar for us.
Oh, he's a good interview anyway, as far as getting him going. He's a talker. So
I spent when the Eagles were in the the Eagles in the Super Bowl down in Jacksonville. I ended up watching the game at Brett Myers' house, and he had the guy who owned McNally's making schmitters at his house, and then he had some rapper at his house. Everything was great until the game started, or until the game ended. But we are back to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show, presented by Wapner Newman. And I was wrong on July 4th at the Link. It is a great game. It's going to be France versus Germany. So on July 4th, that's going to be pretty cool. There was at some point, if the stars had aligned, how about if they could somehow make it USA versus England on July 4th in Philadelphia, how great would that have been?
That would have been incredible. Yeah, right. You can't beat that. Yeah, Independence Day.
But again, I think it's the last game at the Link. So France Germany is a pretty good. France being one of the big favorites. I know Argentina with Messi, and I think Spain, England has a chance. A bunch of teams, Brazil. But let's get back to the Phillies. And I tell you what, on Wednesday, so we just had the Tuesday night game where you're a Nats fan, you're pulling your hair out, as I said, with that comeback. You're winning, you're losing, you're winning, losing, and then Wednesday, this really, I don't know what's more painful, this one or Tuesday night if you're a Nats fan, because Derek Hill had a 2-out, 2-run, same thing. It came down to the last out, last inning, 2 outs. He hits a 2-out, 2-run pinch hit home run in the ninth to lift the Phillies over the Nats 5-4. Schwarber before that came into pinch hit. He was out because of his back. and he walked. And then Hill pinch hit for Crawford, and then homer to right center on a 1-2 pitch. Marsh had 3 hits. For that Nats series, he went 7 for 17 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. And then Seth Johnson came in, did a good job in the 8th, and then Duran continued his magical season. I think he struck out the side, if I'm not correct. So the Nats went with an opener, and then they tried to, throw some other pitchers in there. But the Phillies became the first team in history to win 2 straight games after being down to the last strike with the bases empty.
That second game, that game right there was like salt in the wound. It had an open wound from the night before. It really hurts, and it was trying to heal because they were up in the game. You thought they had it again, then we pour salt in it.
Yep.
It opened back up.
Yeah, so you see that graphic right here in the Nats series, Nats had an 8-6 lead, 2 outs, 2 strikes, 9th inning. And then next thing you know, 10 straight guys get on base. And then the next night, they have a 4-3 lead, 9th inning, 1-2 count, 2 strikes. Again, this is the only time it's ever happened.
Yeah. And a great piece of hitting too, Brace. I mean, if you look at me, he's pinch hitting, come in. It just didn't pull it, right-hander pulling it to left field. I call that being probably a bad pitch, middle of the plate or middle in that he pulls. This ball was away a little bit, outer half away, and he stayed on it and drove it to right center. That's a good piece of hitting right there, in that situation. Yeah. That was awesome.
And then even again, the third game, right? So you have 2 games where we made history. Again, becoming the first team in history to win 2 straight games after being down to the last strike of the base empty. And then in the third game, Thursday, we are up or down 5-0 in the top of the 6th.
With our horse on the mound, I mean,
right.
Our big guy was on the mound starting out.
Yep. So Harper hits a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 9th. And after the game, if I'm not mistaken, he obviously played for the Nationals for a long time. And the Nationals were giving him a hard time, because he just basically broke their hearts again. And I think we have the picture of Harper. There he is. Now, it looks like some people mistakenly saw that as his middle finger. It is not. It's his ring finger. And I guess he's showing, a ring that he had on his. But it looks. But look, you see Marsh in the background kind of laughing. But great game. We rallied from an early 5-run deficit, beat the Nats 10-5. We win the series by scoring 15 runs in the 9th inning. That whole series. 4 games, we scored 15 runs in the 9th inning.
Wow, that's amazing.
My guess is the Nationals have. It's safe to say the Nationals have the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball.
Oh, there might be some transactions made here.
I mean, even the guy that blew the game on Tuesday night, last name is Lord. Even you got a Bernie Perrant shirt on. Even the Lord can't save the Nats, right?
Oh my! I tell you what, we found a way. We found a way to get it done, and we've talked about this numerous times about hitting is contagious. It can get the good vibes get going. And I mean, the positive energy gets going, and good. If you're thinking the right way, good things can happen. You end up relaxing and putting good swings on the baseball, and it fell in our favor that night, which is it's good to see the team have a few nights. I mean, like that, because of the struggle they had before earlier in the season. They were as low could get, and now they're back on a good pattern of doing positive things and never say die, never out of a game attitude they got right now, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I saw an interview that we were talking about Don Mattingly, I think it was Marsh, who was saying that obviously they love Topper. Who did?
Yeah.
Great guy. And then when Mattingly came in, I think Mattingly basically told him that look, relax, but you need to play with your hair on fire. But I want you guys to relax. You guys are pressing. Let's have fun out there, And when the team does well, it's when they're having fun, when they're relaxed, and when they're all just basically building, upon what the other guy's doing. And,
Well,
I don't think
Brazier, it's like you in your golf game. When we play sometimes you get, you hit a bad shot or something, you get
and it can
all kind of
snowball.
wired up. I said, hey, you gotta relax a little bit. Tension kills.
And I think you're right. There's a lot of parallels with golf and baseball
Yeah.
that, when you're gripping the bat really tight because you're just so anxious to get a hit, as opposed to just relaxing, getting up there. And, it's both games are very mental. And
people don't realize how mental it is. If you're physically healthy and able to go, it's 85% the mental game, I think, at least. So, because the gray matter can do a lot of things upstairs. It can get in your way.
Yep. And so it's again, it's good to see guys like Stott. Man, this guy Hill has just been unbelievable. And the bullpen's doing their job, and they have their up and down moments, but for the most part. And then it's so nice to get somebody in the back of the bullpen that basically is a shutdown guy. I mean, we haven't really had that for a while.
Yeah. It's good to have that guy in the back of the bullpen, like you said. I mean, it's you got a chance to win a ball game. I mean, he's going to give you the best chance to do it. That we've seen in a while. So.
Yeah, and Sean chimed in too. Said it's the old school mentality of that Mattingly brings to the table, which I agree with. Not that again, Topper was old school too, but I just think sometimes they need a shock to the system. And I think when Topper got fired, that was the shock to the system. I know that they all knew that they were going on a bad pace, but I think they just, when that happened, they're like, oh my God, we just got our buddy fired.
Bottom line, Brace, bottom line, it comes down to the guys playing the game on the field. That was the issue. It's their thing. They were due to turn it around and have better at bats, have better pitch better. They were due to do that because the talent's there to do it with. Now, I mean, does firing your manager give you the shock? I just think they were due. I don't look at it like that. Being an ex-player, nobody feels worse, than the players on that team that Topper got fired.
Yep.
Yeah, they let go. So because bottom line, it wasn't his fault. It was their fault.
Yep.
He's not out there swinging the bat, throwing the pitch. So that's just my view on that. So.
Well, then we go to Citi Field, play the Mets. Mets are not in a good way, and we don't want to,
don't wake them up.
Don't wake them up. And typical of the Mets, I think we have this picture, but Mendoza gets fired. Carlos Mendoza, their manager.
Yeah, and that's another situation. Just like it's not his fault; it's others.
Right. Well, then the reporter, like last year, obviously he was. But here's a reporter basically announcing that Mendoza, a very serious topic, is getting fired as the Mets manager, and Mr. Met, I guess obviously doesn't know what he's talking about and thinks it's just a regular interview, and Mr. Metz is behind him dancing. Just a horrible image, right?
Yeah.
Very serious
way. Not classy.
Yeah, I sent that to the best friend of the Fanatic, and he just.
What do you have to say?
He just said, "Typical Mets, right? Haven't gotten their act together." But Friday night, Phils win a tight one. Now there's a lot of action back and forth with the Nat series, but this one, Zach Wheeler, against his old team. He allowed 4 hits over 7 innings. He has a 2.03 ERA in 12 starts since returning from the surgery he had. So good to see Wheeler. And I guess sometimes when you play your old team, you kind of have an added juice, I guess, really to kind of.
Yeah, I would say. Mine was the Braves. I got the pitch. And it was nothing better than sticking it to them a little bit. Because sometimes they get you, but it was nothing better than sticking it to them in a big situation. So that was nothing better than that. Yeah. So
we frustrated.
I have to say there's probably a little bit extra. I don't want to say you're trying any harder, but I think this it's more gratifying when you do. So
we frustrated the Nats in the series before, and then we really frustrated the Mets because Derek Hill robbed Juan Soto of a 2-run home run, which would have affected big time the game. One of the greatest catches you'll ever see. Let's see if we can go to video, and then we'll go to break because we want to bring on Tim Kelly to talk about. So here's the moment. So Wheeler's
Swung
pitching.
on, blasted. High and deep, right center field on its way. Hill is at the wall. He jumps. Oh, and he caught it. He caught it. He went up over the wall, and he took back the homer from Juan Soto.
One of the
great running catches at the wall you will ever see.
You're right. Great catch. Absolutely stunning catch.
Soto, after swinging, standing at the plate. He was watching, knowing that was headed out.
That's how much all the faces.
Then Derek Hill had something else to say. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, just crazy. And then look,
there's not but one
catch. His shoulder is nearly level with the top.
That's one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Remember, Braze. I don't know if you remember this catch. My old friend that grew up in my area, where I grew up in North Carolina, but he was older than me. I grew up watching him play Legion ball. Was Otis Nixon or Otis Nixon?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember the ball. He went up over the wall in Atlanta, in center field. It was sort of like that, but it was more directly over.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek jumped and hit into the wall.
Otis climbed up it.
But Otis, he had, because Atlanta's wall was so high, he had to put his foot up on the wall and then push up over the wall.
Little Spider-Man.
While he was on run like that to get it and went up over. His body was over the wall and he caught it and come back. And that's the only ball it comes close to that. Yeah. So.
Well, we're gonna have Tim Kelly on. I want to get his take on that because he was in the locker room.
Wow.
Time's running out. Game's on the line. Who do you want taking the last shot? You want Wapner Newman, Pennsylvania and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorney since 1978. Call 215-569-0900 or visit WapnerNewman.com. As I mentioned, coming up on the show, we're going to have on Patterson's Tim Kelly, who's been joining us lately, get his inside talk on the locker room. You're listening to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman.
When everything's on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
If you've been injured, call Wapner Newman.
Go with the heavy hitters.
Lawyers with the resources and experience to fight for you.
Win with Wapner.
The correct call.
Hey, WBCB listeners, it's Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Reliable water service doesn't happen by accident. It takes ongoing investments to help deliver clean water and manage wastewater every day. BCWSA Utility Services continues to upgrade and modernize its treatment facilities to strengthen infrastructure throughout Bucks County. These improvements help ensure safe, dependable service for families, businesses, and communities. Learn more about BCWSA's investments at bcwsa.net. BCWSA Utility Services.
You're sitting at a red light. Your phone buzzes. Direct deposit hit. You imagine what a little extra could do. Groceries covered. Weekend trip booked. Starting that someday fund. At Penn Community Bank, we know growth can look different, whether it's big plans or just a little breathing room. Right now, open a qualifying checking account with direct deposit and earn a $400 bonus. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/400bonus. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offer subject to change. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
All right, we are back to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman, and happy to have on Tim Kelly from On Patterson. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you guys as always.
Yeah, thanks again for making time before the game today. And I tell you what, we were just talking about the week in baseball, and if you're a Nats fan, we made them pull their hair out, and then if you're a Mets fan on Saturday night. On Friday night, you're having them pull their hair out. A lot of different culprits for that. But, let's talk about, first of all, I want to talk about Derek Hill. We talked about him. When that transaction was made, I'm sure most Phillies fans were, they probably didn't even know much about the guy. He's going to come in and platoon, good defense, not a big average, doesn't have tons of power. But I tell you what, just like any good team, everyone contributes, and he's unbelievable.
He had a
so
great
far.
week. He had a great week.
But he's also I was looking at his stat. He as a Philly, he's got a 375 average, 1.042 OPS, and then obviously had a catch of the year, and he also had a game-winning home run. So he is contributing way more than I think anybody could have expected.
Yeah, I asked him Friday night if he had ever had like a better 72-hour period playing baseball, and he hadn't. I mean, it was just you have those 2 home runs in Washington, and then Friday night the catch that he made is the best catch I've ever seen in person. And what was crazy about it is, as for as good of a catch it was, is we all kind of saw it happening because he got such a good jump and such a good route on it, and he just goes up and get it. I mean, I heard you guys talking before of great catches. Like, I think of the catch that Gary Matthews Jr. made when he was on the Rangers in Texas. That was an amazing catch. But as far as Phillies catches, I don't think you get much better than this.
I'll tell you, and what was really impressive about that was the heads up is how quick he got the ball back to the infield.
Right.
Because that's just a heads up play, because you still have baseball playing. You can't stand out there and celebrate, and then throw the ball.
And Marsh was right there too as a backup. Everyone kind of did the right thing.
Yeah, no, and if it's me after I make that catch, I'm celebrating. I'm not like you kind of black out in a moment like that. But he had the wherewithal, kind of as he begins to celebrate, to fire it back into the infield. It was an amazing moment. And Zach Wheeler is the most stoic pitcher you'll see, and even he couldn't help but crack a smile.
Oh yeah, he had a big grin on his
that
face.
might be the first time I've ever seen him smile. I'll tell you the truth.
He'll smile, like when you get him away from the field and in the clubhouse, he'll smile plenty. But I was thinking about it, like in terms of on the mound, and it's not just smiling. Like, he's not like Christopher Sanchez will let out emotion after a start. Wheeler's just kind of even keel, doesn't show emotion. Even there, he had to.
Did he talk about what it meant to pitch well against his former team, the Mets? Did anyone bring that up?
I think it's been so long with him at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he still has people in New York that he's friendly with, but he's a Philly. Like, he became Zach Wheeler on the Phillies more than anything. Right. So I don't think there's like bad blood, because it's a new ownership group. It's a new ownership group. I believe this past offseason when the Mets got rid of Alonso and McNeil, and I don't think there's anyone left on the team that was there when he was there. So I don't know how much it even matters at this point that there's former team, because there's nobody left really.
Yeah. We talked about all the comebacks, in the Nats series. What was the locker room like, especially after that crazy game where we ended up scoring 8 runs in the 9th inning? I mean, it must have been it probably reminded of like the 93 clubhouse after some big wins.
Well, I actually was not. Anthony covered that series, but I can only imagine what it was like after that 8-run 9th inning, and then to do it 3 times in 4 nights where you win in the 9th inning. It was about as remarkable of a series. I don't love going to that park, but I'll tell you, I was jealous of Anthony being there at that series, because that's one they're going to talk about for years.
I think people witnessed something in that series that I don't know how, when the next time you're going to see something like that, coming back like,
I mean, to see that once is amazing. To do it 3 times in 4 nights was, it's going to be the highlight of the regular season, most likely.
Yeah.
Tim, I mentioned before that no team had trailed with 2 outs in the 9th and then scored 8 runs to win in almost 40 years. And the pitcher on the mound, it was Kansas City, was the last team to do it. And Mitch Williams was pitching against them. So pretty crazy. Let's talk too about Mattingly. We were talking earlier. I think Marsh was interviewed talking about how when he felt absolutely, the players all felt terrible when they felt responsible for Topper, which they should. And then I think Mattingly came in and said, I want you guys to relax, but play with your hair on fire. And it just seems like, for whatever reason, they just have taken off. They have one of the best records in baseball since Mattingly took over.
Yeah, and we talked a couple of weeks ago about how they're winning too many close games. Now, they had some ninth inning games this week, but you've seen a couple, or some wins over the last week or two where they're winning a little bit more comfortably. They're not having to use Duran every single time they win a game. So I think that's positive. Yeah, I mean, it's been great.
Oh, that's a big positive,
Yeah.
You're going to wear him out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A guy throwing 101, you can't use 5 times a week. So not using him every single time they win is huge. And I think Rob did a great job as Phillies manager, but sometimes it is time for a change. And Don Mattingly, you can't argue with the results they've gotten.
Who have you been impressed with in the bullpen? We've had a lot of new faces in that bullpen from last year and last couple of years. Who's been kind of an unsung guy to you?
Well, I thought until he gave up the home run to Curtis Mead that Jonathan Bolin had been throwing the ball pretty well lately. I'm intrigued by Kyle Backus, but he's got to be able to get righties out. In the 3-batter minimum era, you can't just be a lefty specialist anymore. He's got to show he can get righties out. But the Phillies need some lefties to emerge in their bullpen, and he's tough against lefties. He is very deceptive with his delivery, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on him.
Any update on Keller?
He actually threw a bullpen like as we were talking to Don this morning right before that. So there wasn't any immediate update, but all signs are good, and that they're kind of going to plan out what happens next in terms of a sim game. Does he go on a rehab assignment? But things seem to be moving in a good direction there.
And we're getting closer and closer to we're almost at the end of June. I know Bowden came out. At this point, who do you see getting in the All-Star game with the Phillies?
Well, they're not going to have any starters probably because Ohtani's the starting DH for the NL, so that takes that off for Kyle Schwarber. And they don't have I don't think Bryson Stott or Alec Boehm is going to end up winning their position, although they are finalists. So I think you're looking at a good amount of reserves. Kyle Schwarber, Christopher Sanchez, Joan Duran. I think Zach Wheeler has a real opportunity. Bryce Harper, to me, has hit his way into the All-Star game these last couple of weeks with how he's played. And Brandon Marsh. Actually, they probably will have a starter in Brandon Marsh. That escaped me. But you have him and then a bunch of other reserves, most likely.
Have you been following the World Cup at all? Because we were talking about that. It's pretty. I think it's captured a lot of people's attention, and it's especially in Philadelphia. We've had some games here, and it's kind of fun to see the city come alive.
Yeah, no, I played soccer when I was in high school, so I've kept in a pretty close eye on it, and I've enjoyed it. I was watching Argentina last night after getting home or getting back from the Phillies game, so it's definitely been fun, and it's gone off, it seems, relatively smoothly in Philadelphia.
Can you sense whether the players are into it? Are they following it?
Definitely non-American players. They follow soccer more than any other sport. So it's always on, even when it's not World Cup. But yeah, I mean, I think especially if Team USA continues to go further, it's going to become kind of the rally around the flag thing where everybody gets involved the way you see it with hockey and some other sports in the Olympics.
Tim, do we have any update on Painter?
He's pitching today at Lehigh Valley.
I didn't know if he'd already pitched or not.
No, yeah, he's pitching today at Lehigh Valley, and we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's something, though, where the Phillies want it to be like every start there is an event. I think they kind of want to allow him to lay low as much as possible and just kind of regroup, and we'll see whether he can make an impact for the Phillies the rest of the season. But long-term, they obviously still need him to be a part of their future.
And Rangel will basically stay in that fifth spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's been excellent. Like, Tommy can probably speak to this, but you don't see that overhand motion that he has very often in the majors.
Yeah.
But the thing he does, he hides the ball. Like, I always feel like one of the problems when you throw that high is people can see your grip. He hides it well enough that even though he only throws 92, 93, guys have had trouble picking him up, it seems like.
Well, see, that's one thing about pitching. I mean, who says you have to throw 100? If you're deceptive and the hitters don't pick you up till a little bit later, that 93 turns into 97, 98 or whatever. And the ball, and especially if he's got a little hop on it at the end, if it's got life at the end, I mean, that plays up big, so you can't ask. I mean, it gives, it's just like the left-handers coming from the sidearm or the right-handers that come from that submarine. He's got a little bit of funkiness to him that makes it a little difficult, so I mean, you can't ask for a better job than he's done, in the role they put him in. So.
Yeah, for sure. And Bryce Harper talked about how his changeup is pretty tough on hitters too. So teams are going to make adjustments, but I think he's stabilized that position for the time being.
All right.
Good.
Tim, we'll let you get back to the rubber match today. So thank you as always for coming on, especially last minute. Great contributor to our show, and I appreciate it. So,
all right. Thanks, guys.
Tim Kelly from On Pattison. You can follow him out there. Found yourself on the injury list. Get help now. Call Wapner, Newman, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys at 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. All right, coming up on the show, we're going to go around baseball, give you some stats. I want to talk about a great article that Jason Stark wrote about how Kyle Schwarber might be one of the better free agent pickups, not just the Phillies, but ever. And we'll get you set up for today's game, the rubber match against the Mets. You're listening to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman.
When everything's on the line, who do you want to take the last shot?
If you've been injured, call Wapner Newman.
Go with the heavy hitters.
Lawyers with the resources and experience to fight for you.
Win with Wapner.
The correct call.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. BCWSA Utility Services wants to make sure you stay informed when it matters most. In rare situations like a water main break, boil water notice, or other service issues, BCWSA uses an emergency notification system to send alerts by phone, text, or email. But they can only reach you if your contact information is up to date. Visit bcwsa.net and click Update Your Contact Information to get started. BCWSA Utility Services.
You're sitting at a red light. Your phone buzzes. Direct deposit hit. You imagine what a little extra could do. Groceries covered. Weekend trip booked. Starting that someday fund. At Penn Community Bank, we know growth can look different, whether it's big plans or just a little breathing room. Right now, open a qualifying checking account with direct deposit and earn a $400 bonus. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/400bonus. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offer subject to change. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
All right, we are back to the BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman. I'm John Brazer, joined by Tita Greene.
Tita,
Tommy.
how you doing, pal?
I'm good, and I just wanted.
How's your golf game?
I didn't play this week. I did play this week. I played on my birthday, so had a good
Happy
outing.
belated again.
Thank you very much. I don't have to tell how old I am. I'm just old. We'll go through that. All right, we'll get you set up for today's game.
Derek.
Why don't we do that right now? We have the rubber match, and the Mets are going with the bullpen. Looks like a bullpen game. They're starting with, I'm going to butcher his name. I don't even know. I guess it's Cionel, Cionel, Cionel Perez. He's a lefty. He is, he's 3-3. He hasn't started a game this year. 3-3, 4.99 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. He's pitched 30 innings. He is a lefty, and he's probably going to pitch one inning. And then I assume they'll have a bulk starter in there. But for the Phillies lineup, and I think Chris Ermer has the lineup card. If we can post up there. As you can see right there, Trey Turner leading off playing shortstop. Schwarber batting second as a DH. Harper batting third, first base. Bohm, the cleanup spot, third base. Marsh batting fifth, left field. Realmuto batting sixth, catching. Stott batting seventh, second base. Derek Hill is going to get another start, right field. Justin Crawford is playing center field, batting ninth. And Luzardo is on the mound. Luzardo 6.4 ERA, 4.0. I'm sorry, 6.4 win-loss record, 4.00 ERA, 1.30 WHIP. And last outing out, he gave up runs, but he only gave up one earned run. Thanks.
Well, you can't catch it for all of them. They got to help them
right.
out.
So again, Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Marsh, Realmuto, Stott, Hill, Crawford, Luzardo for the 140 game today against the Mets. Let's hope we can take the series because we didn't get into last night's game, but last night we took the loss. Got a third inning. Harper had a home run, but they came back, and Lindor is back, and he came back with a triple. Soto had a good game, and we got stymied. So the offense got stymied, but hopefully we can take the rubber match. All right, Tommy, let's go around baseball. I want to tell you one of the hotter teams, probably one of the biggest surprises in their American League. So we don't pay too much attention to American League, but the White Sox. The White Sox weren't they the worst team in baseball last year, or one of them?
Yeah.
Right?
They should. They're a scrappy bunch of young guys over there, man. They really are.
A lot of guys you've never heard their name, but yet they are leading the AL Central with a 43-38 record. They've won 24 of their last 29 home games. They're 28-13 this season at Rate Field. They're tied with Tampa for the best home record. And on Friday night, I don't know if you saw this. Friday night, they scored 22 runs. They beat the Royals 22-1. It's almost like the Royals are almost the opposite. Royals came in with a lot of people thinking they were going to be kind of one of the up-and-coming young teams, but the Royals are last place, 34-50, and they're 10.5 games behind the White Sox. But again, they scored 22 runs. And again, do you know these names? Tristan Peters, he had a grand slam. He had 6 RBIs. The Sox had 23 hits, 5 home runs. They scored 10 in the third inning. And Kansas City had a pitcher named Mitch Spence. Well, his name should be Mitch Spent because he pitched 1 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 10 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. So he basically ate it.
That's what you call getting shellacked. Yeah.
He got shellacked. Going back to the Mets, since earned runs became an official stat in both leagues in 1913, the Mets are the only Major League Baseball team to strike out 10-plus batters, hit multiple home runs, allow 0 earned runs, and lose the game. How about that? Right?
Stay hot, Mets.
Yeah, and then their Mr. Mets dances behind the guy. So it's they're having a rough season, and I don't feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad for him at all.
No. All right, how about Kyle Schwarber? Jason Stark wrote a great article talking about how Schwarber might be one of the greatest free agent signings ever. If he hits one more home run, he would become, before the All-Star game, he would become only the 5th hitter to ever hit 30 at the All-Star break in back-to-back years. Do you want to hear the other guys? Aaron Judge, Mark McGwire, Ken Griffey Jr., and Sammy Sosa.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the only one to join the team as a free agent when doing so. So the other guys, were either trade or they came up through the system.
Yeah.
He has, I guess he's 5th. The 5th most home runs ever, ages 29 to 33, right? In a season. Sosa has 292. Here's the stat right here. Judge has 249. Babe Ruth, 232. Jim Thome, 227. And Kyle Schwarber with 216. And if you look at it too, he has 31-38 plate appearances. The only one who had less was Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
So he's doing all that when Sosa had almost 400 more at bats.
Yeah.
Thome had
That's
more
almost
at-bats,
a season's worth of home runs, but I mean that could still, it's hard to catch Sammy.
Yes, it
400
is.
bats. You'd be lucky to. Schwarber might hit 40. Maybe, But still, it's going to put. That's amazing what Sammy did.
Yeah, and again, doing it at that age, it's pretty crazy. He has hit 216 home runs in his first 5 seasons with the Phillies. It's the most home runs hit by any free agent in his first 5 seasons with any team. Rafael Palmeiro hit 214 in his first 5 years with Texas. Bonds hit 198 with his first 5 years with the Giants. If he reaches 50 this year, he'll surpass Babe Ruth for the most home runs by any hitter in his first 5 seasons, whether it's free agent trade, came up through the system. So, and that's pretty attainable, to get 50. So if he does that, he's in some pretty elite company. Also, if he hits 9 more home runs, he'll have 38 home runs 5 seasons in a row. Only Rafael Palmeiro did it in his first 5 seasons after signing with a new team. So Kyle Schwarber, I think everyone pretty much agreed in the offseason, we need to sign this guy, right? Some of the critics might have said, well, he's getting older. Can he keep it up? Well, Kyle Schwarber has gotten, he's in great shape. He takes care of himself. And it's almost like watching David Ortiz. As David Ortiz got older, he kept the power numbers up. He stayed in shape and just.
Well, the thing about it, that's the key to is having no big injuries, no big leg injuries is a huge thing, because we saw what happened to Ryan Howard when he had the Achilles injury. You take a power hitter's legs away from him, and it's things change. What Schwarber has going for him, that's really, really good, and for I think the longevity side of it, his stroke, his swing is so short.
Yep.
He's short to the baseball, and it's a good knack to have, because if he does slow down, he's still good.
Yep.
So I mean, that's a good attribute he's got there. Let's just continue to knock on some wood, stay healthy. That's what we want.
Yep. Then going around baseball, Jazz Chisholm. He's the one who got reprimanded by manager Aaron Boone for taking a green lollipop into the field. It's not the first time he's done it. He had an at bat earlier this year with a lollipop. I mean, again, how does that team not police that?
Brazier, to me, that's disrespecting the game, if you ask me.
Right.
A little bit. The total disrespect, and to your teammates, too. Like, you're not taking it serious. You know what I mean? There's always – he's a good talent. He adds some flair to the game. But there's always been something that rubbed me raw about him. And when the conversation was saying when he was to go out and get him with the Phillies, I was like, no, I don't want that here. I don't want that coming through the clubhouse here, because I don't think it's good.
Nope. Couple other things. We'll go back to the World Cup. Ronaldo became the first player ever to score in 6 World Cups. Messi has the most FIFA World Cup goals with 19, most matches played 29, most matches won 19. And only 17 players have ever scored at least 10 World Cup goals. 4 of those 17 are playing the World Cup now and have each scored at least 2 goals already. So it's been exciting. Really is. So it's fun to say. And then the last thing is we're wondering whether Major League Baseball, I don't want to get into this topic because we got to go to break, but Major League Baseball's since late May, early June, the stats, every offensive stat has kind of gone up. So some people are speculating that the baseball's got changed, which could have happened. So we'll see.
It's been. They should have had Titleist stamped on it a long time ago.
Right. Yeah. In a city of champions, you deserve champion legal representation. Wapner Newman is Pennsylvania and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys. Call 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. And that wraps up today's BCWSA Utility Services Baseball Insider Show presented by Wapner Newman. I'd like to thank my co-host today, Tommy Greene, our guest, Tim Kelly from On Patterson. Thanks also to Chris Ermer, Joe Wapner, and thank you for listening. We're going to be back next Sunday before the Phillies take on the Kansas City Royals. And until then, have a great week. And as the late, great Harry the K says,
we're out of here.